the Great Recession, massive student loans, runaway real estate, and the pandemic. These are a few of the economic challenges millennials have faced. It may seem impossible for our generation to thrive, but I'm here to help as your money guide. I'm Shaun Melby, and this is the Melby Money Show. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Melby Money Show. I'm your host, Shaun Melby. In today's episode, we're tackling a topic that's on many investors' minds as we approach another election year: the anxiety and uncertainty that comes with the political season. It's natural to feel a sense of unease when the future seems unclear, especially when it comes to your hard-earned investments. The constant barrage of news headlines, political debates, and market fluctuations can be overwhelming, leaving you wondering if you should make changes to your portfolio or even pull out of the market altogether. However, it's important to remember that making an investment decision based on short-term political events is rarely a wise move. We'll be discussing the importance of maintaining a long-term perspective when it comes to your investments, regardless of the political climate. We'll take a look at historical market performance under both Republican and Democratic presidencies, explore the pitfalls of attempting to time the market, and offer strategies for managing your emotions and staying the course during times of uncertainty. By the end of the episode, you'll have a better understanding of why sticking to your investment plan is key to achieving your financial goals, no matter who sits in the Oval Office. But first, let's talk about what's in the news with current events. Tariffs have become a hot-button economic issue in recent years. Both the Trump and Biden administrations imposed tariffs on various imported goods, especially from China, to protect American industries and workers. And heading into the 2024 presidential election, tariff policy is once again in the spotlight. We'll break down what tariffs are, how recent presidents have used them, and what the current candidates propose. Put simply, tariffs are taxes that countries impose on imported goods when they cross the border. Historically, tariffs were the main source of revenue for the U.S. government until the federal income tax was introduced in 1914. After World War II, the U.S. began decreasing tariffs to promote international trade. That downward trend continued until 2018. There are a few main reasons countries use tariffs. 1, to protect domestic industries from foreign competition, to incentivize foreign countries to change their trade practices, and 3, to raise government revenue. However, most economists argue that tariffs end up harming the economy overall by increasing consumer prices, reducing exports, and lowering efficiency. The costs tend to outweigh the benefits. In 2018, President Trump began imposing significant tariffs, especially on goods from China. He raised tariffs from less than 5% to over 20% on Chinese imports. Trump also taxed steel and aluminum imports from various countries. The Trump administration argued the tariffs were necessary to protect American manufacturers from unfair foreign competition and to put pressure on China to change practices around intellectual property theft and forced technology transfers from U.S. companies. Trump blamed the U.S. trade deficit with China on their business practices. However, economic studies found that U.S. businesses and consumers bore the brunt of the higher costs from the tariffs, not China. It's estimated the tariffs cost the average U.S. household over $800 per year. China also retaliated with its own tariffs on U.S. exports. Despite criticizing Trump's tariffs during the campaign, President Biden has kept most of them in place, with only minor adjustments. Like Trump, Biden views the tariffs as leverage to spur changes in China's economic practices. In May 2024, Biden actually increased tariffs on certain Chinese goods, including electric vehicle batteries, medical equipment, and solar panels. The administration said that this was in response to unfair Chinese subsidies and to protect important U.S. industries. However, it marked a shift from Biden's campaign rhetoric. Former President Trump, running again in 2024, is proposing even more aggressive tariffs, if reelected. At a recent rally, he called for a blanket 10% tariff on all imported goods, which he compared to protective, quote, ring around the collar for the U.S. economy. Economists estimate this would amount to $500 billion annual tax increase. Trump claims that foreign countries pay the tariffs when the data clearly shows the costs fall on the American importers and consumers due to the cost of the tariff getting added to the cost of the good, which is paid by the consumer. His trade representative said the goal is to encourage China to eliminate its unfair trade practices. Vice President Kamala Harris has not proposed any major changes to the current Biden tariffs so far. It remains to be seen if she will keep them in place or roll them back. Tariffs may seem like an arcane economic issue, but they have a real impact on the prices we pay and the health of key U.S. industries. The past two administrations have broken from the historical trend and embraced tariffs as a tool to combat perceived unfair foreign competition, especially from China. Tariff policy is shaping up to be a key difference between the parties in the 2024 election. With Trump doubling down on his protectionist approach, while Democrats are signaling a stay-the-course strategy for now. Now, a word from today's sponsor. This episode of the Melby Money Show is brought to you by individual retirement accounts, also known as IRAs. An IRA is a powerful tool that allows you to save for retirement in a tax-advantaged way. There are two main types of IRAs to know about. With a traditional IRA, you contribute pre-tax money. This lowers your taxable income now, but you pay taxes later when you withdraw the money in retirement. A Roth IRA works the opposite way. You contribute after-tax money, so there's no tax break now. But the big benefit is your money grows tax-free and you can withdraw it tax-free in retirement. The key with both IRAs is that your investments grow tax-deferred or tax-free over many decades. Starting an IRA early and contributing consistently over your working years can help you build a substantial nest egg to fund a comfortable retirement. IRAs are available to anyone with earned income. For 2024, you can contribute up to $7,000 per year, or $8,000 if you're 50 or older. And you can open an IRA at most banks or investment firms. So remember, an IRA is one of the most effective ways to save for retirement. Take advantage of this valuable tool to keep more of your hard-earned money working for you. Let's take a closer look at how the stock market has historically performed under both Republican and Democratic presidencies. It's a common misconception that the political party in power has a significant impact on long-term market performance. However, when we examine the data, a different picture emerges. Since 1929, the S&P 500 has experienced an average annual return of around 10%, regardless of which party occupied the White House. A 2019 study by Fidelity Investments found that from 1933 to 2019, the average annual return for the S&P 500 was 10.8% under Democratic presidents and 10.2% under Republican presidents. The difference is negligible and suggests that the overall market trend is driven more by economic factors and business cycles than by political leadership. It's important to recognize that short-term volatility is a normal part of the market's behavior. Elections, policy changes, and political events can certainly cause temporary fluctuations in stock prices. However, these short-term movements are often driven by investor sentiment and speculation, rather than fundamental changes in the economy or long-term prospects of individual companies. History has shown that the stock market has a remarkable ability to weather political storms and continue its upward trajectory over the long term. For example, during the contentious 2000 election between George W. Bush and Al Gore, the S&P 500 didn't really move at all that much in the weeks we weren't sure who was going to be president. The first few years of Bush's term economically were defined by the recession we entered a few months after he was inaugurated. However, in October of 2007, with 1 year left in Bush's term, the index had recovered and gone on to reach new highs. Of course, the Great Recession hits a year later, but that certainly can't be blamed solely on one president. When you study that event, you can see that it was decades in the making. Now, moving on to the following decade, during the 2016 election, many investors feared that a Trump presidency would lead to market turmoil. Yet the S&P 500 continued to climb, reaching record levels in the years following his inauguration. The same can be said of the Biden presidency. And as of the recording of this podcast, the S&P 500 is near a record high. The market isn't concerned with who is president. The key takeaway here is that while elections and political events can create short-term noise in markets, they rarely have a lasting impact on the long-term growth of the economy and the stock market. As an investor, it's important to maintain a long-term perspective and avoid making knee-jerk reactions based on political headlines. By staying invested and focusing on your long-term financial goals, you can ride out the short-term volatility and benefit from the market's historical upward trend, regardless of which party holds the reins of power. Now that we've established the stock market has historically performed well over the long run, regardless of which political party is in power, let's address the common misconception that many investors make during times of uncertainty, attempting to time the market. Market timing is the practice of trying to predict future market movements and making investment decisions based on those predictions. This often involves trying to sell investments when the market is high before the downturn, and then buying back in when the market's down. This way you avoid your losses and maximize gains. Sounds like a great idea, right? While the idea of market timing may seem appealing, especially during an election year when emotions are running high, It's important to understand that this strategy is rarely successful and can actually be detrimental to your long-term investment performance. The problem with market timing is that it requires you to make two correct decisions: when to sell and when to buy back in. Even professional investors and market experts struggle to consistently make accurate predictions about short-term market movements, and the average investor is unlikely to fare any better. Attempting to time the market can lead to missed opportunities and underperformance. When you sell your investments during a market downturn, you lock in your losses and miss out on the potential future gains when the market recovers. For example, during the 2008 financial crisis, many investors panicked and sold their stocks at the bottom of the market, only to miss out on the subsequent rebound that saw the S&P 500 more than double in value over the next 5 years. Likewise, investors who sat on the sidelines during the 2016 election, waiting for the, quote, right time to invest, missed out on the market's strong performance in the following years. This most recently happened on a large scale during COVID. Some people got out right before the market tanked in March of 2020, but then never got back in and missed out on the recovery. The stock market ended 2020 higher than when it began. Instead of trying to time the market, the most effective strategy for long-term investment success is to stay invested and maintain a well-diversified portfolio. By spreading your investments across a range of asset classes, sectors, and geographies, you can help mitigate the impact of short-term volatility and benefit from the market's overall growth over time. A well-diversified portfolio should be designed to weather the various market conditions and political environments, allowing you to stay the course and avoid making emotional decisions based on short-term events. It's also worth noting that staying invested doesn't mean you should never make changes to your portfolio. Regular rebalancing, which involves periodically adjusting your asset allocation to maintain your desired level of risk, can help ensure that your portfolio stays aligned with your long-term goals. However, these adjustments should be based on your financial situation and risk tolerance, not on short-term market fluctuations or political events. We've covered a lot of ground in this podcast discussing the historical performance of the stock market under different political administrations and the pitfalls of attempting to time the market based on election outcomes. However, it's important to acknowledge the emotional challenges that investors face during times of political uncertainty. Even armed with the knowledge that the markets have proven resilient over the long term, it's natural to feel anxious or unsettled when the future seems so unclear. One of the most effective strategies for managing these emotions is to stay focused on your long-term financial goals. Remember why you started investing in the first place, whether it was to save for retirement, fund your children's education, or achieve financial independence. These goals remain constant regardless of the political climate. By keeping your eye on the prize and maintaining a long-term perspective, you can help prevent your emotions from clouding your investment decisions. Another key strategy for navigating the emotional challenges of investing during an election year is to work closely with a trusted financial advisor. A skilled advisor can help you develop a comprehensive investment plan that takes into account your unique financial situation, risk tolerance, and long-term objectives. They can provide guidance and support during times of uncertainty, helping you stay the course and avoid making impulse decisions based on fear or anxiety. Your advisor can also help you maintain a well-diversified portfolio that is designed to weather various market conditions and political environments. Many times, I've found, the big purpose of working with a client is to talk them off the ledge during these turbulent times because they know if left to their own devices, they'd panic sell. It's also important to remember that investing is not a one-time event, but rather a continuous process that requires discipline and patience. By consistently contributing to your investment accounts, regardless of market conditions or political events, you can take advantage of the power of compounding and benefit from the market's long-term growth potential. This approach, known as dollar-cost averaging, can help smooth out the impact of short-term volatility and reduce the temptation to try and time the market. The key to successfully navigating the emotional challenges of investing during an election year is to trust in the resilience of the markets and the strength of your investment plan. By staying focused on your long-term goals, working with a trusted advisor, and maintaining a disciplined approach to investing, you can overcome the anxiety and uncertainty that often accompanies political change. Remember, the markets have weathered countless elections and political events throughout history, and they will continue to do so in the future. With a well-thought-out investment strategy and a commitment to staying the course, you can confidently pursue your financial objectives, no matter what the political landscape may bring. As we wrap up today's podcast, let's take a moment to reflect on the key points we covered. We've discussed the historical performance of the stock market under different political administrations, highlighting that markets have generally trended upward over the long term, regardless of which party is in power. We've also explored the pitfalls of attempting to time the market based on election outcomes, emphasizing the importance of staying invested and maintaining a well-diversified portfolio. We've stressed the significance of maintaining a long-term perspective when it comes to your investments. It's important not to let short-term political events drive your investment decisions, as this can lead to missed opportunities and underperformance. Instead, by focusing on your long-term financial goals and working closely with a trusted financial advisor, you can develop a comprehensive investment plan that is designed to weather various market conditions and political environments. Remember, the stock market has proven its resilience time and time again, overcoming countless elections, political events, and economic challenges. By staying the course and trusting in the long-term growth potential of the markets, you can position yourself to benefit from the power of compounding and achieve your financial objectives. While the anxiety and uncertainty surrounding an election year can be challenging, it's important to remember that with a solid investment plan and a commitment to staying the course, you can weather any political storm and emerge stronger on the other side. Trust in the resilience of the markets, stay focused on your long-term objectives, and have faith in the power of a well-diversified portfolio. By doing so, you'll be well on your way to achieving your financial goals and securing a brighter future, no matter what the political landscape may bring. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Melby Money Show. We look forward to continuing the conversation in future episodes. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer on the show, you can email them to shaun@melbymoney.com. It would really be an honor if you subscribe to the podcast so future episodes can show up in your feed. If you feel compelled to leave a review or rating, I'd appreciate that, as well as getting feedback will only help make this podcast the best it can be. And if you've enjoyed the episode so far, feel free to tell a friend about the show. Farewell, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Melby Money Show. This podcast is a Melby Media LLC production created by Shaun Melby. It is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Investing involves risk, and there's no guarantee an investment plan or strategy will be successful. Prior to making an investment decision, please consult with your financial advisor about your individual situation. Shaun Melby offers his clients investment management and financial planning services through Melby Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor authorized to do business in states where registered or otherwise exempt from registration. This podcast does not engage in rendering legal, tax, financial, or other professional services. If you have questions pertaining to your specific situation, please contact Melby Wealth Management at 615-891-5444.